Well, there's a research forum that you can attend to find out what's happening on the campus of Ohio State Lima. Joining us today to tell us more about it, we have Dr. Robin Bagley. She's assistant professor of biology at OSU at Lima. Then we have Wasiks Mohammed. He's an undergraduate researcher in biology at OSU at Lima. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Robin, let's start with you. Why is it so important that these undergraduates do research and put these projects together?
Sure. So, I think that the really important thing that undergraduate research helps them to do is to learn a lot of these soft skills. So in your classes, you learn the book knowledge, you learn the concepts, you learn all the vocab words, but that doesn't really help you in the field. So, when you're in a lab or you're a doctor, you need all of these things like, how do I take notes? How do I, use scientific equipment? How do I even figure out, how to figure out something that's going on? I think that kind of stuff you can't learn without doing it, and that's exactly what researching in a lab helps you to do.
So do these students pick their own project to research, or do you give them the topic? How does the research develop?
So it's usually a conversation. It's somewhere in between those things. So a lot of us have a couple of different projects going on in our labs, and we'll sort of sit down with the student and be like, hey, what are you interested in? Here's a couple of different options for you in the lab, and we'll kind of settle on one. And the most exciting thing for me is when we sort of start with something and a student really takes off with it and brings it somewhere totally that I didn't expect. And a lot of my students have done that and really driven my research program forward.
That's awesome. Okay, Wasik, your turn. So what did you decide to research, and tell us about it?
So I've been looking at sawfly parasitoids, which are basically parasitic wasps for sawflies. They're lethal parasites. And at first we thought there was a general idea that these parasitic wasps are very generalized and can attack all sorts of species. But what I've been really interested in is looking at if that's actually true and seeing if these wasps are very specific to certain types of insects or bugs.
Do we have those in our area? How are you doing this research?
So we have multiple samples of these parasitic wasps from kind of all sorts of places over the U.S. A lot of them are in Kentucky, and we can continue to gather more and more samples the more field work we do. But what I've been doing is looking at a lot of the samples that we've collected already and kind of seeing how they vary from place to place.
So has it been interesting for you? Have you found out stuff that you were surprised about?
Oh yeah, it's been really interesting. So what I noticed is a lot of these wasps, I've been looking specifically at these wasps called blue-green wasps, creatively called blue-green wasps because they're blue and green. But what I've noticed after looking at each bug, one after another, is some of them are a little more blue, some of them are a little more green, some of them are a little bit more in between. So I'm really interested in seeing why the change in color is so, easily visible. And maybe that maybe that's a clue that says that, hey, maybe these aren't the same type of wasp. Maybe they're a little different.
So has this research journey been what you expected, or has there been twists and turns that you're like, wow, and you really feel great after having this experience?
Yeah, so what I definitely didn't expect to see the changes in coloration and all that. Came all of a sudden. I was just looking through all the bugs and recording their names and their tags, and then I kept noticing wait, this one's more green than the other, this one's more blue than the other. So that was definitely something unexpected that then made me ask the question, well, why is it like that?
Robin, this seems like, he's excited about these projects. Do you get that from students that, they're like, wow, and I keep researching. Is this the fun part of, being able to watch the students?
Oh, yeah. So, I often think of my research project as sort of an extension of my teaching. It's just sort of a different way of teaching, but it's always really wonderful to, see a student come in, especially when we have students that come in that don't necessarily like bugs when they start. And then, they're like, oh no, they're really cool. Then they also start seeing bugs everywhere, which is something that almost all the students in my lab come in one day and are like, you didn't tell me there were bugs everywhere. And I'm like, yes, I did.
Fun stuff. Well, the public can learn more about some of this research, right? There's a forum coming up, and we can come check it out.
Yeah, and our campus will be open to it. It is, I believe, on Thursday, April 11th.
14th, April 14th.
14th, there we go.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to have Wasiks is going to have a poster there, and 3 other students in my lab and several other students in biology, as well as across other departments. So we definitely encourage you all to come by and take a visit, see what our kids are working on, and, talk to them about what cool research they've been doing.
Wow, yeah, it has been cool research. Wasik and Robin, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Don't go away. Noon Edition continues in a moment.